Hello everyone, this is Matt Curfman from the Richmond Brothers here with your Matt's Minutes edition for October of 2019. Thanks for watching. So I guess the sentiment for this month would be what a difference a year makes. When you go back to, it seems like forever ago now, but October, November, December of 2018, certainly a lot of uncertainty in that period. That was where the markets had dropped rather substantially in the fourth quarter. There was concern, were we tipping into recession? Was it just an emotional reaction? So for those of you that have held through that roller coaster, 2019 in general has been a reasonably positive year in the broad equity markets and broadly in your equity holdings. So that has been a rather good decision. And so as far as recessionary signs, I would say everything is still kind of on the path that we've already spoken to you about. We're still monitoring for some of the signs that may trigger recession. Last month I spoke about the yield curve inverting in the month of August and kind of historically what that meant. The previous 5 times the yield curve inverted going back to 1960s. And so I guess our view would still be that we do not think recession is imminent. We think there are still some things that are positive. The economy is still growing. Unemployment is low. And if you kind of think about the recession signals listed out and think of kind of a stoplight with red, yellow, which would be caution, and green, which is good, you know, there's still a mix. Everything has not turned to yellow, which is cautionary, or red, which is in this sense bad. There's still quite a few green signals, and so again, I think as we keep moving forward, there is room for optimism and possible continued growth. Now, as you look at all of your individual circumstances, of course everyone is different and everyone is unique. So just kind of bear that in mind, and that's why we want to have individual calls and meetings as we've done with all of you in our advisory team. When you look at the broad markets, and I say the broad markets are generally up, what sectors are really not doing well or haven't done nearly as well? There's really 2 sectors out there, and that would be both energy and healthcare. And so I point that out because when you hear the market's up, that doesn't mean every single thing is up. So is every individual holding you have perfect? Absolutely not, and it will never be that way. But when you add up the aggregate in general, are we seeing positive momentum? Then I think the answer would be yes. So what are some of the things as you look forward? We are now 1 year away from the next presidential election cycle. And so why is that important? You may recall the last presidential election cycle, there was a lot of uncertainty in the markets and there was a lot of turbulence, big extreme up and downs, even kind of in the overnight pre-markets. And so as we get closer, we do expect that that will add some volatility, and there's some very extreme views for some of the candidates that are out there right now for the presidential race. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then this is not a new topic, but obviously trade wars, and most of the headlines on trade wars have to do with U.S. and China. Those are still unsettled. There is a lot of banter back and forth, but still unsettled. Bottom line is our economy is still growing. We don't think recession is imminent, and so it still is important to hold on to some of your equity exposure. We still think over the next year, when appropriate, we maybe want to be taking off the top, getting a little more conservative, but not black and white, not all in one day, and then just cutting your equity exposure. So a slow, methodical path. So with that, if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, as always, please feel free to reach out to us directly. questions@richmondbrothers.com. And next Matt's Minutes will be after the Thanksgiving holiday, so for those of you that are able to get together with family, friends, and loved ones, be grateful for that time, be grateful for the season, and thank you so much for being part of Richmond Brothers family.